A former Minneapolis police officer was convicted of third-degree murder for fatally shooting an unarmed woman in July 2017 after she called 911 to report a crime. After hearing 3 weeks of testimony with more than 60 witnesses, jurors found Mohammed Noor guilty in the shooting death of Justine Ruszczyk-Damond, a 40-year-old dual citizen of the U.S. and Australia. The jury had to determine whether Noor had a legitimate reason to use deadly force when he shot Damond, who called 911 to report a possible sexual assault in the alley behind her home. Noor was fired from the police force shortly after he was charged in the shooting. He kept silent for nearly 2 years before taking the stand at his trial on April 25th.
Certainly you have something to say.
Noor has not spoken to investigators since the shooting in July of 2017, and he has not given any public statements.
In a tearful testimony, Noor said he had heard a loud bang on the squad car and feared an ambush. As Damond approached the car, Noor said he thought she might have had a gun and fired once to protect his and his partner's lives. Prosecutors alleged that Noor's decision to shoot Damond was, quote, a tragic event of his own making, and there was no conclusive proof that she ever touched the car.
What is the threat that requires the use of deadly force? What was the serious crime that was going on? All of which are requirements.
Noor's partner, Officer Matthew Harity, also said that he was startled by a noise on the car, but didn't tell anyone about it that night. Neither officer turned on their body cameras until after Damond was shot. Harity blamed that inaction on a vague policy that didn't require it. The police department toughened the policy after Damond's death to require that body cameras be turned on when responding to a call.
What good is a camera if it is not being used when it may be needed the most?
Damond was a life coach and was engaged to be married.
I should have been on a plane to her wedding, but we were flying to her funeral.
We gather before you in our heartbreak.
Her shooting sparked outrage in both the U.S. and Australia, cost the Minneapolis police chief her job, and contributed to the then mayor's electoral defeat a few months later.
We struggle to absorb the weight of this tragedy.
The police are obviously not defending the people's interests. They're interested in their own lives.
It was a rare murder conviction for an officer-involved shooting of an unarmed person. Noor, a 33-year-old Somali American, was hired to the police force 2 years before the shooting, in a move that was celebrated as a sign of a diversifying police force in a city with a large population of Somali immigrants. Noreen Nasser, The Associated Press.